perimeter of any polygon is the sum of the lengths of its side. So let's say my polygon is a square. How many sides do I have?
4.
4. So let's say this is equal to a 2, and that's a 2, and then what do I know about squares?
They're all equal.
They're all equal. Okay. So the perimeter of a square is equal to 4 times the length of a side. So what's the perimeter of this square here?
4 times 2.
4 times 2, which is
8.
8. So the perimeter of a square is equal to 4 times the side length. In this case, it's an 8. How about for triangles? What's the rule to find the perimeter of a triangle?
All 3 sides added together.
Add up the 3 sides. Okay, so if I have side A, side B, and side C, the perimeter equals A plus B plus C. So let's say A was 5, and B was 3, and C was 2. What would my perimeter be? 10? Okay. So the perimeter of a triangle is all 3 sides. It's not a rectangle. How do I figure out the perimeter of a rectangle?
All 4 sides added.
2L plus 2W.
Okay. So I have 2 sides that are the same, we'll call that L, and 2 sides that are the same, and we'll say W. So the perimeter of a rectangle is 2 times a length plus 2 times width. So if my length is 12 and my width is 7.5, what do I get?
39.
Close.
I missed them.
Oh, sorry. 12. What did I say for that?
12 and 7.5.
12 and 7.5. So my length is 12 and my width is 7.5.
15 plus 24.
15 plus 24.
39.
39. Is that what you said, Eddie?
Yeah.
Sorry. I was thinking I said 7. Okay. Example 1. Perimeter of a polygon. There's our triangle. We have 23 centimeters, 19 centimeters, 15 centimeters. So the perimeter is equal to
57 centimeters.
57. Add up the 3 side lengths. Okay, for B, so it's a square. So what's our perimeter of a square?
4 times 1 centimeter.
4 times 1 side length. So if my side length is 9 inches,
36.
36. And then C, I have a rectangle, length and width. 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. So check yourself. 1A. What's the perimeter of that triangle?
31 inches.
31 inches. Make sure you carry down your units. Okay. And B, the square,
21.2 meters.
meters. Okay. So 5.3 times 4. And then C, our rectangle,
38 centimeters.
38 centimeters. Okay. So perimeter. Circumference. Let's talk about circumference. The circumference is what?
All the way around the circle.
Okay, all the way around the circle. So if I start at one point and measure all the way around the circle, that's called the circumference. If I cut my circle in half and measure from one side to the other side,
Diameter.
that's the diameter. And then if I cut it in half again, radius. Okay, circumference, diameter, and radius. The top of page 158. So the circumference of a circle equals what? Pi times, what does the little d stand for?
Diameter.
The diameter. So pi times the diameter. So the example they give us is, I have a circle, my diameter is 4.5 feet. So the circumference equals pi times 4.5, my unit's feet. So you have a pi button on your calculator that you can use. The standard abbreviation is just 3.14. So what's the circumference of this circle?
14.137.
14.137. Oh, so we'll round that up to 1/4. 14.14, and what was my units?
Feet.
Feet. Okay. Feet. 14.14 feet. Okay, a circle has a diameter of 3.5 inches. So 3.5 inches. Okay, there's my diameter. So the circumference is what? How do I figure it out? What's the formula for circumference?
3.5 times pi.
Okay, pi times the diameter. So 3.14 for pi times 3.5 for my diameter. So what's my answer?
It's actually 10.99.
10.99.
You can round that up and add up.
Round that up to 11. And what's our units? Inches. Okay, what if I don't know the diameter? What if they give me the radius instead?
And you go
Double the radius and then times it by pi.
Okay, double the radius.
or go 2 times pi times radius.
Okay, so the circumference equals
2 times pi.
2 times the radius times pi, or 2 times pi times the radius. Either way, it's the same, right?
What property are we using here?
That is called the associative property of multiplication, right? Where I can rearrange the order. So 2 times pi times r. So for this circle, the circumference is equal to 2 times pi, and then what was my radius? 8. So 16 times pi equals what?
50.26.
50.26.
Centimeters.
And then my units is centimeters. Okay. My radius is 2.5 inches. What's my circumference? First of all, what's my diameter? If my radius is 2.5,
Their diameter is 5.
my diameter is 5, and then my circumference is equal to pi times 5,
15.7.
15.7. So the top of page 159, it says sometimes we need to combine perimeter and circumference to solve problems. Example 4 is we're building a gate. Okay, we have this curved top. So that's our dotted line, and it's 5 feet. So what do I know? What else is 5 feet on this figure then?
Bottom.
The bottom. Okay. And then my other side length is 4 feet. So what do I know about this side length?
4.
4. Okay, so what's the formula for finding a perimeter?
All the way around the edge.
Okay, I need to add up my side lengths. So I have 4 plus 5 plus 4 plus what?
Plus half of 15.7.
Okay, plus that. How do I find out that arch?
That's half of the circumference of that circle.
Okay, so I need to find the circumference of the circle. Okay, so how do we do that?
5 times 5.
5 times.
5 times pi
Okay.
divided by 2.
I usually draw that little circle and help me remember what I'm doing. So the circumference of this circle equals pi times the diameter. And I know the diameter of the circle is 5 because they gave me that measurement. So the circumference equals
15.7.
15.7. And did I use the entire circumference?
Only half.
Half. So then I would cut that in half.
7.85.
7.85 is the distance from here to here. Then that's my other side length I add into this perimeter formula. So what's my total perimeter? 4 plus 5 plus 4.
20.85.
So 13 plus 7.85. 20.85. Did they give us units?
Feet.
We did. Feet.
And it says round to the nearest 10.
Round to the nearest 10. So 20.9. What if I round to the nearest split?
21.
21. Okay. So I would need 21 feet to build my gate.
And if it was just 20.84, the nearest 10th would be 0.8, but you're working
Just
with
in
how much
case.
material you need, so.
I buy up anyway. Okay. So check yourself. This one, perimeter of the figure. So they give me a side length of 8 and a side length of 6. So tell me what else I know about this figure.
The other side's going to be whatever it was.
Okay, my other side is equal to 8. And what about this dotted line right there?
6.
Is a 6. So there's really a whole circle there. Okay. And 6 is equal to what?
Diameter.
The diameter of the circle. So if I find the circumference of that circle equals pi times 6, which is what? 18.7-ish.
Your total perimeter is 25.42.
Really? Pi times 6?
18.85.
18.85 is the circumference of this circle. And did I use the whole circumference? How much of it did I use? Half of it. So half of 18.5?
9.42.
9.42. So if I want to find the perimeter of this shape, what do I need to add? 8
Plus 8.
plus 6 plus 8. There's my side lengths. Plus
9.4.
9.42. Okay. .42, and our units was meters. Okay, page 160, number 1. Find the perimeter for this triangle. How do we find perimeters?
Add up the sides.
Add up sides. So number 1, 6 centimeters. And number 2,
21.
so 12 plus 9 is 21 inches. And number 3,
10.6.
10.6 meters. Number 4,
18
18 3/4. What's my unit?
Feet.
Feet. Okay, 5.
10.8 millimeters.
So what's the formula for the perimeter of a square?
4 times one side.
4 times one side length. So 2.7 times 4, 10.8. Then 6,
14 feet.
14 feet. And 7, what's the formula for perimeter of a rectangle?
2 times L plus W, 2 times W,
2 times the length plus 2 times the width.
47.8 centimeters,
Okay. And 8,
26.4 meters,
6.4. And 9. How would we describe that shape?
odd,
Odd. How would we name it?
polygon,
Just a polygon, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And what's the formula for perimeter of a polygon?
4 times S.
That's for
Or
a
4
square.
plus S. Sorry.
That's for a square. So if I have an oddly shaped polygon,
One side, all the sides added together.
all the sides added together. So 18.5. And then on 10, same. What's the polygon?
12.2 centimeters,
centimeters. Okay. 11, circumference of each figure. So what's the measurement they give me in 11? Is that the circumference, the diameter,
Radius.
the radius? What's the formula to find the circumference using the radius?
2 times pi times r.
2 pi r. So if my radius is 9, what's my diameter?
18.
18. And then what's my circumference?
56.54.
56.54. So if I ask you to round that to the nearest whole number, 57. 12. So what's the measurement they gave me there?
5 feet.
And it's the diameter. So the circumference equals
15.
pi times 5, 15.7. Okay, 13. Diameter of 8.5. So what would the radius be?
4.25.
4.25. And the circumference is equal to
6.7.
about 26.7 something. Okay, 14. They give me a radius, so what's my diameter?
Double that.
Double that, so 7 and
7.5.
7.5. And then my circumference is
23.56.
23.6. And 15, which measurement did they give me?
Diameter.
The diameter. What would the radius be?
55 inches.
That's the
The
circumference.
circumference is 55. What would the radius be on that?
The radius.
8 7/5.
8 3/4.
Proportion.
Okay. And then 16. Gave me the radius, so what would the diameter be?
7.
7, and then the circumference?
11 feet.
22-ish.
Yeah, instead of 11, you added them instead of times.
Okay, 17. Find the perimeter of each figure. So we've got another gate. And I have a 7 feet and a 9 feet. So what do I know about my other side lengths? That's a 9, that's 7. Okay, how do I find that length?
Pi times 9.
5
Divided
times
by 2.
9 divided by 2. So what's my length?
14.13.
14.13. So the perimeter of this figure is equal to what?
7 plus 9 plus 7 plus 14.3.
Okay, so total perimeter is
37.13.
okay, 18 is kind of a fun one. I really don't like this pen. Okay, so I have a side length here of 1 inch. And then I have a measure from the center to the inner circle is 3 inches. Okay. So they're asking me to find the perimeter. So what do I know already?
That other line is 1 also.
Okay, that's a 1 inch. So what I really have is 2 different circles, right? Okay. So let's start with the inside circle.
9.42.
Okay, so the circumference of this inside circle is this a radius or a diameter?
It's a radius.
It's a radius. So what's the diameter of this inside circle? Okay, so for the inner circle, I have a circumference of 6 times pi,
18.84.
18.84, and then divide that by 2.
9.42.
Okay, so this 9.42 is the measure of this part of the line. You okay so far? Okay, and now my outside circle. So I did my inner circle, and now I need to do my outer circle. Okay. What's this measurement?
3 plus 1.
3 plus 1, and that equals 4, and that's what part of this outside circle? The radius. So if this is 4, the diameter of my larger circle is 8. So my circumference would be 8 times pi. What does it equal?
25.13.
25.13 is my large diameter. Did I use the whole thing?
No, we used half.
We used half. Okay, so what's that measurement?
12.57.
12.57?
That was 0.56, but rounded it.
Okay, so 12.57 is this side length. Okay, so to find the perimeter of this shape, what do I use?
Add all the sides.
Okay, so where are my side lengths at?
12.57.
12.57
Plus 9.42.
plus 9.42
Plus 1 inch.
plus 1 inch plus 1 inch. Okay. What's my total perimeter? $34 about? What's it really? 24?
23.99.
23.99? Okay, we'll call 24 pretty close. 23.99, what's my units?
Inches.
Inches. Okay. There's one like that on the test. So they give you an arch and you'll need to remember how to do it. Okay, 19 is shape. They give me a side length of 7, and then they have this length of 4. So what is that telling me about this circle?
It's
It's a bad circle, but
Bad
what's the 4 represent?
radius.
Radius. Okay, so what's my diameter?
8.
8. My diameter is 8. So the circumference of the circle is equal to
8 times
3 times pi, which is 26. What is it exactly?
25. 3.
25 point what?
1, 3.
25.13. Okay. And what fraction of the circle am I using in my shape?
Half of it.
So half equals
12.56.
12.56. So the perimeter of this shape is equal to what?
7 plus 7 plus 8 plus 12.56.
Where'd you get the 8?
Well, if the diameter's 8, then the bottom half's going to be 8.
Okay. 7 plus 7 plus 8 plus 12.56. Okay. What's my total? $34.56. Did they give me units? They did. Okay, 20. They give me this awesome little shape that looks like that. And a 10. Okay, what do I know about this measurement?
It's the radius of a circle.
Okay, there's really a circle. Okay, that goes like that. There's my radius.
So those other 2 dotted lines down and across are also 10.
Okay, so that's a 10, and that's a 10. So my perimeter is going to equal 10 plus 10, and then how do I find this portion of the side?
The circumference divided by 4.
Okay, so take the circumference of the circle, so here's my radius, so what's my diameter equal?
20.
20. Okay, so the circumference equals 5 times 20, which is
62.83.
62.83. And then which fraction did I use?
1/4.
So describe that to me in terms of revolution.
A quarter of a
90
One
degrees.
Quarter of a revolution. Okay. A quarter of a revolution.
Which is 15.7.
15.7. Okay, so
So
that,
35.7.
that would be the other length I add. So 10, 20, 35.7. Okay, that one I was supposed to go off.
Inches.
Inches. That's our unit, inches. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. 21. The path runs around a circular lake. This has a diameter of 1,000 yards. Robert jogs around the lake 3 times. What do I need to find first?
Circumference.
Circumference of the lake. Okay, so circumference equals pi times the diameter. My diameter is
1,000.
1,000 times pi.
Which is 3141.59.
Okay, so there's the circumference of the lake, and it says Robert jogs how far? 3 times around.
9,424.77.
Say that again, 9,424.77
4.77 yards.
yards. Okay, that's how far he ran. Let's convert that into feet.
Times 3.
So how do we set that up?
1 over 3 yards.
1 foot is equal to,
Oh no, yeah, sorry.
okay, 3 feet
36 inches.
is equal to 1
Or, yeah, whatever.
yard.
Spending.
Okay, so then my yards cancel, I'll be left with feet. How many feet did he run?
28 something.
All right, Eddie, get that calculator going.
28,274.33 feet.
3 feet. Okay, convert that to miles.
With the 8,000.
1 mile is equal to
5280.
5280 feet. Feet cancel.
5.35 miles.
5.35 miles. Very good. Okay.
So each revolution, that lake is 1.78 miles of circumference.
So how'd you figure that?
Divided 5.35 by 3.
Very good. Okay.
It's a big one.
That's a big lake. 22.
Well, I guess in all reality, that's
Yeah.
actually a small one, but
A circular rug, so again we have a circle, is 6 feet in diameter. Okay. There's our diameter, 6 feet. Binding for the edge costs $1.50 per yard. What will it cost to bind around the rug? So what do we need to do first? Find the circumference of the circle. So pi times 6. What's the circumference of the rug?
18 something.
Yeah. 18.7. Should we say 18.7? Good guess?
Sure.
18.8 actually.
18.8. Okay, we'll say it's 18.8 feet. That's the circumference of the rug. And then what did it ask? Binding is $1.50 per yard. What do I need to do first?
Convert 18.8 feet into the yards.
Convert that to yards. Okay, so how do I set it up?
1 yard over 3 feet.
1 yard is equal to 3 feet. Okay, feet cancel. How many yards do I have?
6.28.
6.28 yards. And
Hit it.
what do I do next?
Times $1.50 per yard.
Times $1.50. So, what does it cost?
$9.42.
$9.42. Okay. What happens to the circumference of a circle if you double the radius? Here's my circle. and I have a diameter, and I have a radius. So let's say my radius is 3. What is my diameter?
6.
6. And then what does my circumference equal?
18.8.
18.8. Okay, so now let's say I double the radius. My radius is now 6. My diameter is now
37.6.
12. So the circumference is 37.6. So what happened to the circumference of the circle?
The double.
It doubled as well. Okay. What if I triple? So instead of 3 radius, my radius is now 9. So what's my diameter?
55.8.
18.
Oh, sorry.
The circumference is pi times 18, which is, did you say 55.8?
It's also triple.
It also tripled. Okay. So it's semi-obvious, right? If you triple the one number that varies, you're also going to triple, right? Because pi is a constant. 24. The distance from Philadelphia to Sea Isle City is 100 miles. A car was driven this distance using tires with a radius of 14 inches. How many revolutions of each tire occurred on the trip? Yeah.
What?
Okay. Where should we start? With our tire. Our tire has a radius of 14 inches, so our diameter is equal to 28. So what's the circumference of this tire?
$87.9796.
87.96. We're going to round that up to 88. Make this a little less.
Okay.
Okay, so 88 inches. Our tire circumference is 88 inches. That means it makes one revolution every 88 inches. Okay, so how do we figure out how many revolutions it made in 100 miles?
Convert miles into inches.
Okay, so convert miles to inches. We have 100 miles. How do we convert to inches?
First,
Go to feet.
first.
Go to feet first. What's the conversion ratio?
5280 feet to
1 mile is equal to 5280 feet. And then what's the feet in inches?
12 inches over 1 foot.
12 inches, 1 foot. Okay, how many inches did we travel? Grab your calculator.
$6,336,000.
336,000 inches. Okay.
Inches.
And then our tire circumference was 88 inches. Okay, so it made one revolution every 88 inches. So how do we figure out how many revolutions it made?
Divided by 88.
Divide this by 88. So how many tire revolutions did we have?
72,000.
72,000? Even? Awesome. 72,000 revolutions.